What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And today, here we are with some more Super Boss teams, and we went back to the drawing board. I know that my alliance and I have been trying to figure out a couple of different teams so that we get a little bit more optimal damage potential against these bosses. And we have 3 separate teams against each of the bosses. Once again, this is like my new round of teams that I'm currently using. One team though in particular, you guys will see in the second fight versus the strength boss. I'm not 100% on board with that team. I'll probably be altering it to another team that I think some other content creators and other players have been changing their teams to, involving Ace and Yamato. We'll talk more about it once we get to it, but this team that you're seeing right now was actually created by, I believe it was Snowman, who is a Japanese One Piece Treasure Cruise content creator. And the team is exceptional in what it does, as it does use 2 Utas, which is great. Remember, Uta is receiving 2x stat bonus in this quest. And also remember that, this character receives superclass from both Kaido and Uta herself. So you get like the double superclass, which gives you like a 1.44x stat boost, which is pretty exceptional because it's that on top of being double stats because she's boosted in the event itself. Robert and Jinbei with that Brook support for that chain addition and removing attack down. Chopper, of course, for color affinity and also providing resistance down on the enemy, which is also essentially a 1.5 bonus. Another good thing about this team is that we don't even need to use Kaido's special, so we can have a strength captain with the shark ship getting a lot of damage from that, because we only really need Kaido for his super tandem and his super class special, which is awesome, so don't really need to worry too much about that. And we are using the conditional of ulti page 1, not only because their conditional is better than Kaido's, but it also provides chain boundary with their switch effect. So all of this together, we're able to produce some pretty absurd damage output. So now looking at the second team versus the strength fight. Now, as I said, this is probably not going to be the team I'm going to be sticking with for a while, but the main reason why I am using a team such as this is because of Law's super tandem. And I know that, the more optimal way around it is by using Shanks' super tandem, because not only is it easier to activate as you only need to tap with 2 characters, but the actual boost that it gives your crew is more significant, as it's a 2.5x boost instead. However, finding level 5 Shanks friends is very difficult to do. So I've been opting to use the tandem ability of Law a little bit more often, but in this clip here, shout out to my man Stump, who was able to lend me his Shanks friend captain, which is great. So that's what we're using in this team. So we're using the level 5 Shanks friend with essentially the same team that I used in the initial video, but this is showing, how much extra damage you can get. I believe if you end up using Law's super tandem instead, I believe it only gets you around 10 billion damage, and with this you'll see that it is slightly higher damage, and it does make a big difference. But as I mentioned, Ace and Yamato is a character that a lot of people are opting to use instead of like the Luffy, for example, because not only do you get an attack boost that is equivalent of what Luffy gives you, but they also give you this switch ability with the chain boundary, so you can get chain boundary, and then it also allows you to get rid of Ben Beckman for something else in particular. I know that some people were using double Shanks because Shanks is awesome, and if you use 2 Shankses in the same turn, you can get access to a buffed chain boosting effect, which is pretty awesome. So you can have that all on board, or you can have the Ace and Yamato and still use Ben Beckman, and what you can do is Ben Beckman's special can buff orb boosts and any chain related effects that you have. So you can use their special to buff chain and your orb boost that you'll have from like Law, for example. Ace Yamato can give you attack boost, Law can give you an orb boost, Ben Beckman can buff both of them. So that is also something else that you could potentially use as well. But this is what I'm using for now, and it still does a pretty sizable amount of damage, all things considered, with that Luffy crew, which is awesome to see. And then we've got the final team. Now, this is the team where we actually do some crazy good stuff. So shout out to TheLordShiro for allowing me to use his friend captain, the Super Tandem Luffy level 5. You know, on the anniversary, a lot of people pretty much considered Kaido was like the best of these anniversary units, but man, that Luffy at level 5 is no freaking joke, dude. Like, it makes a big difference, and you guys are going to see in this video how much damage we can potentially do with that. The cool thing about this team, though, is that even if you don't have a Super Tandem Luffy as a friend captain, you know, you could just use double Snake Man, like double size Snake Man, and that'll still actually work, and it'll still give you a pretty good amount of damage. But if you're able to find at least a level 4 or a level 5, best case scenario, friend captain Super Tandem Luffy, this team is definitely going to be the way to go, at least for now. And I'm not too sure if there are other ways you can get more damage. I guess technically if you get your alliance boost, if you have a lot of players jump in the boss, you can make one person do a lot more extra damage, but this is still pretty impressive stuff. And the team composition is very important in terms of where characters are placed, because what we can do is remember, we do need to get a tandem slot on the Luffy, the green Luffy, or the Sanji, or the Usopp and Yasop. So what we can do is we can just get the full board of tandem slots from Luffy's special ability, and then we can use the switch effect of Usopp and Yasop to get matching slots, and then use Yamato to change the matching slots into Wano. So we have some tandem slots and we have Wano slots. One thing to consider as well is that you may want to actually save the Luffy's super tandem effect, or the super class effect, the green Luffy's effect, for the last stage, because we do use it on stage 2 to reverse our character's cooldowns, but realistically it's actually a better idea to use the Psy Luffy on stage 2 to reduce the cooldowns, and then save the green Luffy's super class for the final stage, because his super class effect can buff your orb boosts, which means that you'll actually do even more damage than what you're seeing in this little clip here. But the damage that we get from it is impressive stuff, but so long as you can find those friend captains, of course, it's always going to be the most difficult part. That's going to wrap it up for me, though. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. If you guys did, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.